Amanda. I recently read a top 10 list of a phenomenon called Doppelganger phenomenon, and I thought it was really interesting, especially since I'm really interested in the paranormal, and I thought it would be appropriate to share it with everybody because I don't think everybody realizes that the word doppelganger, it does mean double or, you know, twin-ish, but most people think it just means that you look like someone else or someone looks like you. And in fact, that's not true at all. I mean, it can be used for that, but the original use of the word meant your double, like your twin, but it's not even a real person. It's like a phenomenon. The doppelganger phenomenon is a paranormal phenomenon that basically is described as paranormal duplicates of a person, and they can manifest in several different ways. You could see them out of the corner of your eye, you could end up meeting them while you're walking down the road, or a lot of people in history have said to have seen their doppelganger in the mirror. Now, mystics believe that doppelgangers are actually supernatural creatures who are either spiritual copies of you, so it's not a physical person, or they believe that it's a demonic twin. Now, scientists have found that it actually isn't spiritual or supernatural or paranormal. It is basically just an electronical glitch in your brain that makes you believe that you're seeing yourself. They also say that this is common in schizophrenia. Now, what I believe that people with schizophrenia could definitely see a doppelganger and believe that it's an actual person. But I'm not going to get into schizophrenia because I could talk about that all day long. And I do think scientists are correct when they say that it is an electronical glitch in your brain, because they have done studies on this phenomenon where they basically applied electrical stimulation to the left junction of the brain. And when they did that, they found that people tend to see a doppelganger or a duplicate of themselves, and instead of believing that it's just because of the stimulation or the experiment that they are involved in, they truly believe that they are right here. Now, this isn't anything new. This actually dates back really long time ago. The word doppelganger is German in origin, but the effect of doppelganger phenomenon has been found in ancient Egypt mythology, in Norse mythology, in Finnish mythology, and also in American history. And what's also really interesting about this phenomenon is back when it all started, especially in mythology, when these people would see these doppelgangers, they tend to have died shortly after, which is really crazy. And I know that scientists have found out that this effect can be duplicated with the electrical stimulation in the brain, but they have yet to be able to duplicate the phenomenon of the person dying shortly after. So, for instance, Percy Shelley, he is known to be Mary Shelley's husband, and Mary Shelley wrote Frankenstein. Well, shortly before he drowned in a sailing accident in 1812, he admitted to Mary that he saw his doppelganger several times. He had seen his doppelganger once, and it actually spoke to him and asked him, "How long do you mean to be content?" And then shortly after, he died. So how do scientists explain that? I mean, yes, it could be a coincidence, but I really doubt it. Another person who experienced this phenomenon was Queen Elizabeth I. She reigned from 1558 to 1603, and she had met her own doppelganger. According to Queen Elizabeth, the spectral Elizabeth was lying motionless on her bed, almost like a corpse laid out for presentation. The experience was weird for her. I mean, if you saw yourself lying dead on a bed, I mean, wouldn't you be a little bit freaked out? But, you know, she just thought it was because she was stressed, and then she just put it out of her mind like any other person would. And shortly afterwards, she dies. I mean, I I can't explain it. I don't know if anybody can explain it. Another person who experienced this phenomenon was Catherine the Great, and she was 18th century Russian empress, and she saw her doppelganger sitting on her throne, and she immediately ordered the sentries to shoot at her doppelganger. Now, it didn't hurt her at the time. There's not enough information to know if the doppelganger was actually affected by the shots, but she did die shortly after seeing her doppelganger. Abraham Lincoln, as we know, is the 16th president of the United States. Well, before his second term as president, him and his wife both saw a doppelganger in the mirror. The doppelganger appeared to them to be sickly or older or not as healthy as he was at that time. They tried to take good out of a very superstitious phenomenon. But his wife believed that it meant that he would serve a second term. But what's interesting is he actually did serve that second term, but he died in office. So it was a little bit after, or a little while after he saw the doppelganger, but still, he saw that doppelganger, took it as a sign that he would have a second term as president, and then died shortly after. It's just interesting. So, in history, they have been an omen to death, illness, or danger. Yet, scientists are still trying to tell us that they are just an electronical glitch. If it was just a glitch, then how did they explain all of the deaths that took place right after them seeing their doppelganger? It just doesn't make any sense. Now, like I said before, it could be just a very weird coincidence that repeats itself over and over again in history. And for all we know, a lot of these people could have genuine mental illnesses that we just never knew about that could have caused this phenomenon. But I believe that this is an actual paranormal sighting. They actually saw themselves. And I mean, there have been recorded histories of these doppelgangers talking to them. Is this a way for our subconscious and our bodies to tell the future? Or is it just an omen of death or illness or danger? Could it be an actual creature that is, I guess, there to give us bad luck? Maybe that's basically what they are. Maybe they are actual spiritual creatures come down to earth to kill us? I know, that sounds crazy, but think about it. They see this doppelganger and then they die shortly after. I mean, if you've watched any supernatural type movie or television show about creatures that have bad omens to them, people die shortly after. It's like, kind of like seeing the Grim Reaper. You know, if you see the Grim Reaper, you're going to die. It's just, that's how it is. Maybe doppelgangers are actually Grim Reapers. It could be possible. Nobody has yet to disprove this idea. And also, what about all those people that genuinely look like you? In a world with such diversity, it's insane to think that there are identical people out there to you. I'm just curious if you guys have ever seen your own doppelganger or somebody else's doppelganger. And I'm not just talking about like the similarities are there. Now I'm talking about identical people. Identical to, I mean, freckles, glasses, hair, everything identical. If you've ever experienced this phenomenon, I would love to know. It's so interesting, and I would love to know what you think. I mean, I could be wrong in my theories, and you could be right, and I would love to know. But that's all I have for you today. I hope it was informative, and I hope you enjoyed it. And I'm hoping to have a little bit more of paranormal information out there for you, because it is something that I am very passionate about. So I'll see you on Thursday, Amanda. Bye. Well, hello, Lunabelle.